Hello friends, today I am going to tell you how can we create a login and register app using SQLite Database which is stored locally in your phone. So let's begin. First we will launch Android Studio and select start a new project. Select empty activity and click next. Provide a name to your project, login SQLite. Set other parameters. So you can see main activity.java has opened and there is an activity main.xml which is our UI file. Go to text and what we'll do, we will delete this hello world text which is the default text and we will change the layout to relative layout. We will give some padding here, 10 dp, and then in the layout first we will make an edit text. Width is match parent, height is wrap content. We have to give an ID. The ID will be username. We can give a hint parameter, that is username. Now we can give some margin. So layout margin top equal to 50 dp. We'll copy this edit text and we'll create another edit text. The ID we will change it to password, and since it's a relative layout we have to define the relationship with other elements. So we will define layout below the ID of username. Then we'll copy this edit text and we will create another edit text box below that, and we will change the ID as re-password, which is basically for retype password. And then this should be layout below password. We have to change the hint for the second edit text box, that should be password. And then for the third edit text box it should be retype. Now we have to create a button. Width should be match parent and height is wrap content. The ID of the button we will give to button sign up. Then we have to write a text to the button. So we will write register. Then a margin top we will define as 50 dp. Then it should be below the edit text, so we will define layout below ID/re password. I will copy this and create another button. The ID of this button we will change it to button sign in, and it should be below button sign up. The text we will change here is existing user go to sign in page. That's it friend. We'll go to design view and we'll see all the elements have appeared properly. So there are 3 edit text box and 2 buttons. Now let us go to main activity.java. So here in the main activity.java we have to define some variables: edit text, username, password, repassword. Now we will define variables for button. So button sign up, sign in. Now inside the onCreate method, we will initialize these variables. So we'll write username equal to edit text in the bracket, find view by ID, r.id. we have to write here the ID of the edit text box, which is username. Similarly, for password, we will write password equal to edit text find view by ID r.id.password. And then third edit text box, password equal to edit text find view by ID r.id.repassword. Now we will initialize button sign up equal to, in the brackets, button find view by ID r.id.button sign up. Then sign in equal to button find view by ID r.id.button sign in. And now we'll create listeners for the buttons. Sign up dot set on click listener, the option comes automatically. Then write new view, then select the option. So this is our listener for the button. Inside the on click method, we can write what should happen with the when the person clicks on the button. Then down below, we will create another listener for our second button, which is sign in button. So sign in dot set on click listener, new view on click listener. Now go to the left panel, create new Java class. So the Java class we will create here will be DB helper, which will basically contain the code for our SQLite database. So you can see public class DB helper has opened. We will write public class DB helper extends SQLite open helper. Inside that, we have to create two methods. First method is on create method and second method is on upgrade method. Above the on create method, we'll write public static final string DB name equals login.db under the double quotes. So this will be our name of the database which will be created inside your Android device. Now we'll create a constructor here. So we'll select the first option and then press OK. These options we will delete. We will also delete nullable. And now in the super context, then we will write login DB, then we will write null, and version we will write 1. So this will create a database login.db. Now in the on create method, we will change this SQLite database mydb, and then here also we will change the name SQLite database to mydb. Now in the on create method inside the DB helper class, we will write mydb.exec SQL, which will execute an SQL query. We will write under the quotes create table users. Now inside the bracket, we will pass the column names. Username, type text, which is a primary key. Then second column should be password, type text. So what this query will do, this query will create a table users, which will have two columns, first column username and second column password. Inside the on upgrade method, we will write mydb.exec SQL drop table if exists users. Now we will create another method, public boolean insert data string username comma string password. So this method we are creating basically to insert the data. Now we'll write SQLite database mydb equal to this dot get writable database. Then we'll write content values equals new content values semicolon. Then content values dot put username, which is our column name, first column name, username, that is a string. Now copy and paste that below and change the column name as password, and the string variable is, we will also change it to password. Long results equals mydb dot insert. So now we'll insert the data, null, comma, content values. So when we write content values here, all the values will be put inside the database. Now we'll check if result equals -1, return false. So if the insertion is not possible, this insertion has failed, will return false. Else if result is not -1. See, -1 basically indicates failure. So we'll write else, return true. So this function was for the insertion of the data. Now we will create next function, public boolean, check username. We'll pass in a string username. This function will check whether the user exists in the table already or not. We will let SQLite database mydb equal to this dot get writable database cursor. Here cursor we have to import the method. So import the class, import class, Alt enter. You'll see the cursor class is imported. Cursor equal to mydb dot raw query select star from users where username equals question mark, and outside this comma new string large brackets, inside the curly bracket we will write username, and then we will write if cursor dot get count is greater than 0. That means if the user exists, we will return true, else we will return false. Now we will create another function, public boolean check username password. First argument should be string username, second is string password. So inside that we will write SQLite database mydb equal to this dot get writable database. Then we'll write in the same manner cursor equals mydb dot raw query. Here we will write select star from users where username equals question mark and password equals question mark comma new string. Now here inside the curly brackets we will write two strings username comma password. Then we'll check if cursor dot get count is greater than 0, return true, else return false. That's all for our DB helper class. Now create a new activity which is login activity. Name it login activity and then press next. And you can see login activity.java is also open. So now we have two activities. One is main activity and another is a login activity which will access this DB helper class. We'll go to the layout, XML file of the login activity login.xml. We'll copy the two edit text boxes and paste inside the login activity.xml. We will change the layout from constraint to relative layout. We'll change the IDs as we'll add one in username 1 and password 1 just to differentiate. Then we'll copy the button also from activity main XML and basically this sign in button. We'll copy this sign in button and paste below the second edit text box. We'll define below which it should come. It should be below the password. So we'll write light layout below ID password, and then text we will change as sign in. In the ID we will change. We have to correct this ID. We can define some padding. That's it. It has come nicely. Inside the login activity also we will define two variables, edit text, username, password, and we'll define button login, and we will now initialize them. Username equal to edit text, find view by ID, r.id. username 1, password equal to edit text, find view by ID r dot id dot password 1. Then button login equals button find view by ID r dot id dot button sign in 1. Then down below we will create a listener button login dot set on click listener new view dot on click listener. Now coming to main activity, inside the first create a function for our sign in button in the main activity. We'll write intent. We have to import the intent class. Intent equals to new intent get application context comma login activity which we have just created. So when we press this button, it will redirect to the login page. We'll write here start activity intent. Now let us define a variable db helper db, and we'll initialize db equals new db helper context this. And now under the on click method, we will create two strings, string user equal to username dot get text dot toString. Basically whatever user enters in the edit text box will be stored in this string user. Then string pass equal to password dot get text dot toString. Then string repass equal to repassword dot get text dot toString. Now once we have created three strings, we will write if user dot equals blank under the quotes, or password, that is pass dot equals again blank, or repass dot equals blank. So basically it is checking any of the edit text box is empty. So if any of the box is empty, it will show a toast message. So we'll create a toast message here and define the text as please enter all the fields. You can write the toast message as per your choice. Else, that means if all the edit text boxes have some values, then it will go for checking whether user exists or not. We'll write if, so it will go for whether these two passwords match or not. We'll write else if pass dot equals repass. So that means we have a username and we have two passwords matching. We will write boolean check user equal to, then we'll check in the database that whether the user already exists or not. So db.check username will pass the string user. And if check user equals, so if check user equal to false, if user does not exist, we can insert the data. So we will write boolean insert equals db dot insert data, which is the function we have created in our db helper class, user comma password. So this function will execute the insertion of the data with the given name user and password. Now if insert equals to true, that means if the database has been written, we will show a toast message and we will write registered successfully. Now we will create another activity and we'll call it a home activity. Basically when the registration is successful, we will let user to move to one page, which will be for our other activities, which will be a home activity. So now home activity has been created. So we will write intent equals new intent get application context home activity start activity intent. So if data has been inserted, we will switch to home activity. But if the insert is not true, so we'll write else. Now here again we will create a toast saying registration failed. Check user has returned true. We will write else. If the check user has returned true, we will say user already exists. Please sign in. Else, we'll show a toast message here, passwords not matching. So if passwords not matching, it will not allow user to enter the data. Now go to the login activity. Now we will define DB helper. Let us write DB here. Then initialize DB equal to new database helper context this. Then inside the button listener, button login listener, store the variables inside the string user equal to username dot get text dot toString and string pass equal to password dot get text toString. In this we have only two edit text. We will write if user dot equals blank. We'll again check here whether the fields are empty. So we'll write pass dot equals blank under the quotes. So if anyone is empty, we will show a toast message. Please enter all the fields which we showed in the main activity. Else if the strings are not empty, we will write boolean check user pass equal to db dot check user name password, which requires two arguments. One is user string and pass string. Now we'll write if check user pass equals to true. That means if user password exists with the given information, we will say here using a toast message sign in successful. We'll allow user to sign in. So we can send the user to home activity. So we'll write intent equal to, we'll again here we have to import the intent, new intent, get application context, comma, home activity dot class, start activity intent. And if username and password does not match with the stored values, you will show a toast message invalid credentials. And that's it, our program is ready. So now we'll run. So here I'm running this in my, I have mirrored my phone. So it is installing. Program is launched. Yeah, so here we can see three edit boxes and two buttons. We will write username all coding. Write password just 123456 and we will write another 123456. And when we press register, we see we have gone to home activity with the toast message. And now if we enter another username, it goes to the home activity. That means entry has been created. Now if we change the password, and we write all coding. So let us write username all coding. Password is 123456. Again repeat the password 123456. Register. Username already exists. So if we attempt writing the same values, it rejects. Now go to the next page by clicking on the button. Now here in the login page, we will write our username which we have registered, all coding, write the password. And when we press sign in, it gives a message, sign in successful. We go back, we'll use the second username, again sign in successful. And if you give one another username which is not registered, it says invalid credentials. Now I'll tell you how to see the database where we have stored all these values. So let us click the device monitor which is located on your, it will open a device file explorer. There you can locate data, then data. Inside the data, you have to search for your package name. Inside the package name, search for the database. And then database login.db we can see. We'll save as in our location from where we can access. Now here I have a DB browser for SQLite. Just double click on it and open the database. Select the database which you have stored in your PC. this opens, it shows two entries, one for metadata and second for users. It has two columns, username, password, which we defined in our program. Browse the table by right clicking on it, and we can see two entries, all coding and all coding one with the passwords. These are the entries which we can see. These are from our Android device. So that's it, guys. I hope you must have learned something from it and you will find it useful. Please subscribe to our channel. We'll bring other videos like this. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you.